Oh, well, we've neglected film directing, haven't we? Let's take care of that. Tricking actors into believing, hosted by yours truly, Nicole Russin-McFarland. Well, my top secret trick I invented. I tell actors something totally untrue. This is super funny. And I'll tell you, you mimic the type of response you need from the character's senior scenes. So what? I'll tell you an example that I've done before, and I totally scared this young woman. And was, she was thinking I was really mean at first, and like, no, I didn't. But I went up to her, and I had remembered an incident in real life where the girl and at my school when I was 15 or 14, well, it was like 15 before I quit doing regular high school, took my pen, and she took all my pens. So I went up to this girl, this actress, and I was helping her. She was auditioning for something on Broadway, and she had a day job. And I happened to, she was working at a gym where I used to go, and I would sometimes talk to her about acting life because I was auditioning for modeling at the same time. And she was rehearsing with an actor from Broadway, like starter actors, but they're going to be big. So I went up to her and I was talking about like, whatever we were usually talking about. And then I was like, you took my pen. No, I didn't. You took my pen. I had it in my bag and you took my pen. Okay. Like stop denying it. It was like my last pen. And she's like, no, I didn't take your pen. What is, and I was like, that's the performance. That is what you need. And I learned about this from doing my nerdy research with, like practicing with like, I'm going to be a film director in my head. And I've actually done that ever since that incident. That was the first time I ever did it. And I had thought about trying that out because I said like, this was many years ago, I'm going to be important when I was 13, 14. I'm going to be an important movie director. And I would develop these techniques in my head. And I thought that they would be unusable, but they're actually usable. That's a fun thing. So that's what I did to this girl. And then she started laughing like, oh, okay. I thought you were mad at me. Okay, I get what you're saying. Thank you. And then she goes like, okay, we can approach this audition script differently now. And I don't remember what the script was, but that was that scene. And I hope she got the job. She never told me, but she did book another job after that. So I was like, hope like something I did helped. Okay, so here's what I do. Record the person's reaction, then share it with that person, audio or video. I stick with audio. This is, I'd say video is kind of, I always feel a little bit rude imagining myself filming via video, so I don't do that, but you could. Okay, so often acting coaching trains natural reactions out of acting, and the acting world goes along with it. So tricking people brings people back down to earth from that training, and if possible, do something unexpected and one take to force a natural reaction, including with voiceover work. So, what do you mean by that? And I don't typically anymore write notes for these episodes, but what I wrote down, I meant like one take is all you need. If you have more than one take and you're working with actors, they get a little bit like, I'm going to imitate it. Like say, I'm getting in a fight with Bradley Cooper for a scene and I'm an actress and I'm doing a voiceover. He's Rocket Raccoon and I'm like Rocket Raccoon girl or raccoonness or whatever. I'm the chick raccoon and I'm going to be like, no, I left it in the luggage because I left this laser beam in my suitcase. Take 2 is going to be lessened. So it's going to be, most actors don't realize they're doing this, but they do. You may be one of them. I don't know. But or maybe you're an actor turned director. I don't know. But they do this thing where the second take is worse. So instead of that, they're like, they get all method in their heads. Like, what if I were really leaving this laser beam out there? And then pretty soon and then they have these things in their head and they try to outdo whatever things they think that they just did wrong. And although they did nothing wrong, it was really good. And then they go out like, I left it in the luggage. And then it's all of a sudden this strange pitch and that doesn't make sense. Third take, I left it in the luggage. Fourth, I left it in the luggage. And then pretty soon it sucks and take 28 million luggage. And you just don't do a good job. That's kind of what acting coaching, although acting coaching is amazing, it also trains people out of natural reactions. So the first take is always the best. I was going to sing the first cut is the deepest on here, but copyrighted. Can't do that. Okay. Have actors help design their characters. And what I wrote in my notes, has someone ever picked out your date? Not letting an actor have any input. It's like any moment someone else decided about what is going on in your life. The process helps them imagine their characters visually. Many people need visuals to do a good job. Your actor can dress like the character when rehearsing or doing voiceovers too. So you could go up like, Kyle, you're going to be playing a bear at a circus. What color do you want your bear to be? I'm going to animate it. Or say in the future, I have a team. What color do you want your bear to be? Do you want it to have frizzy hair? Do you want it to have like super straight hair? Do you want the hair to be clean? Do you want it to be dirty? Because although you're the filmmaker and you do have some direction, just having the slightest input, all of a sudden this actor feels like it is his or her character. And indeed it is. That character is special. And that character is forever tied to him or her. And it's so much fun having actors have some slight input if you can. Sometimes it's pre-animated or you don't have that leeway, but if you can, it's ideal. Okay, get it in one take or you don't know what you're doing. I wish I came up with that, but that's Mr. Ridley Scott. So he's like one of the great career loves of my life. If someday I'm going to marry Ridley Scott. I've been telling people that forever. Like, I'm not romantically involved with him, but I'm romantically involved with him as a role model for my career. He's like one of my dream career people. I worship the guy with his movies. I mean, not like him literally, but the movies. I love his career and like what he's done. And Gladiator is my favorite movie. So, if not take one, as few takes as possible. And I love Ridley Scott because he's always, you don't know what you're doing. He doesn't talk like that, but he's not a Midwestern girl, but like, you don't know what you're doing. And he's not one of those people who goes around it and tries to be super polite. Like, dream big, kids. No, he just like, losers. You just serious? You want to be directors? Get it in the first take. Okay. The first take, I already said this from my notes, how things go downhill afterwards. Actors like overacting. They want to try millions of different tales and takes to see what sticks. If you really want to mess with actors' minds to bring out great performances, don't tell them anything about the scene. This works for voiceover and on camera. If possible, don't tell them which scene is. I do this all the time. It's so mean. Don't tell them which scene is the film's ending or beginning. It's evil. That's my maniacal laugh. Yeah. I hide information from actors. And very much I'm like, okay, you're an important person. See, this is what I'm going to be telling someone probably for a scene I'm going to work on and pick an actor for pretty soon. You're going to be an important person. You're a film executive. You're going to be delivering it like this. And I won't say what I'm saying is the character back. I'm going to hide the second character because the moment that person kind of knows how to react, sometimes it makes it worse. And sometimes they really overact. So you just kind of want to have them being totally confused and then thinking like, okay, I kind of have a little bit of an idea what this person might sound like. But when the person knows too much, unless you're dealing with maybe Meryl Streep, who's an absolute genius at acting. I'm not talking about whatever you may think of her as a person, because I don't know her. And I know people hate her for politics and whatever, but as an actress, I think she's so good. Unless you're working with Meryl Streep, you could be working with a famous person, and that person is still going to be overacting sometimes. So you want to cut into that. And I hope all of this helps you trick people. But remember, you don't have to have a $200 million huge studio film to be using great directing things and tips and tricks. So maybe I like developing them, or at least I did as a young person, and I ended up using them and I use them. But you should always dream big, and you should always try to create your own style and flair because, hey, you're an important movie director, aren't you? That's what my 13-year-old self would have said. My 13-year-old self might say, like, right now, I'm on my way to being an important movie director because I was 13 and everyone who was making a single thing and would be on IMDb practically if I don't think it was around, but say it had been, say everyone was on had been on IMDb, I would say, like, she's so important. She has an IMDb page about my adult self. So anyway, I'm silly. You know me. Focus on creating your own tips and tricks because everyone has their own style and you bring that to your filmmaking. It's so cool seeing how different filmmakers at every level are inspirational, including people who are making their first films. You think that they wouldn't be, but I have a friend of mine who he made his first film some time ago, and I was just listening to all the stuff he was doing. I was like, this is so cool. You know, just as much as certain people do, we can learn from everyone. Ridley Scott, I bet, could learn from some people, and I learned from A-listers. And so you were never too small to be big. Be happy and develop everything and trick your actors. I'll see you guys in another episode.